Yes. Welcome into Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, Timothy, Michael, McKernan, Jackson, Bennett, Burkett. We are on 101 ESPN. We are on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. I am dressed in blue, matching my stunning eyes. Jackson has closed the shades to keep his enemy, the sun, away, and we are ready for what is considered to be a Jim Dandy of a Monday, October 21st, 2024 edition of Balloon Party. Jackson, I want this one. I hope you do too.
Yeah, after a weekend like that.
You better believe it, Jackie Papers.
Yeah, this is our time.
I can't read the YouTube chat. This is so frustrating. So while he looks for this, I'll watch Kelly Clarkson interviewing Uma Thurman. God, it's so tiring. It's every day. All right. Dan Jansen said, headed back down in 3 weeks. How about that?
For, I guess, the game against Oklahoma.
I guess so.
Good time to be. I mean, it's a wonderful day. It was Saturday.
Are you heading to the Autzen Zoo on Saturday for ILL?
Well, it never rains at the Autzen Zoo, but
it sucks that both Missouri, Alabama, and Illinois, Oregon are 2:30.
Yeah,
I mean that's such a bad beat.
Yeah, and if Alabama would just beat Tennessee, not only would Alabama be a juicier opponent for Missouri to beat,
it would have been a night game. Although I think it's better for Missouri that it's a day game. And Illinois gets Oregon at 12:30 Pacific. Just as an FYI.
Yeah.
21.5-point underdogs ILL, 13.5-point underdogs Missouri.
I think it's going to be a raucous environment either way for both teams, and no matter the start time. Because if Alabama wins...
Missouri somehow went up like 10-0 or 14-3. I could see Roll Tide fans who already want a piece of Kalen DeBoer's ass turning on them.
Yeah, maybe giving a little Austin, Texas treatment to the end zone, raining down some of their beverages.
All right, Jackson. I mean, hey, you got the C on your sweater. You wear a heavy sweater, don't you?
I try to.
And you got the weekend wrap up here on 101 ESPN. Let's do it.
I think the leads are the local college football teams, both with big victories over brands, more so than teams.
Biggest road games, and I don't know how. I mean, Missouri had Georgia last year, but for both to have it at the same time, it just sucks. It's a bad beat.
Yeah.
But because, you know, you see college football trending the way it is, and then you could have St. Louisans who would go, okay, I don't really care about Illinois, but I'll watch that. I don't really care about Missouri, but I'll watch that. Now you got to kind of pick and choose. You can do that thing where you split the screen.
Yeah.
YouTube TV.
Yes, certainly. I think a lot of people will be doing that, given the. But then, you know,
now, if you're a Missouri fan, you don't give a damn about Illinois. If you're an Illinois fan, you don't give a damn about Missouri. Anyway, you got the questions. I'm just sitting here. I'm taking you off track. It's not fair. I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong today. It's your fault.
My first kind of question is just like, I think the lead, because determining a lead after a weekend like this is, but I think with both the local college football teams to win this weekend, which you had to do, certainly not their opponents that they're going to be facing next weekend, but to set them up with hope for the next weekend, mission accomplished.
All we want is hopium in late October.
Yeah, and Missouri got there in a much more dramatic way. Illinois dominated Michigan, as you and I both thought they would. You and I were both on ILL heavy, and I think a lot of ILL fans were as well. Missouri, on the other hand, pushed on the spread, but to win that game, like if you were to say
3.5.
If you have a 3.5, then you were a little backdoor action there. But I think that if you would have told Missouri fans, probably after Luther Burden muffs the punt and they scored
17-3,
and said
people got up and started to leave. I was at Faroe Field. People got up and started to leave after that.
It felt like a knockout punch. It felt like, because I was like the last, like, all right, well, maybe Luther can take a punt back. You know, this will get him the ball in his hands.
Well, the main issue is you couldn't visualize Missouri scoring 18 points, and they're down 17-3.
Certainly not with number 6 in the under center there, Drew Pine.
Yeah, that was rough. And I know, you know, people might want to be gentle.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was rough. And I don't know if the television cameras caught how rough the throws were, but that was rough. But then Brady Cook gets the call, and he's able to come back in. And that was incredible. The reception he got when he came on the field, and then people started to realize 12's back in the game. Mm-hmm. And then the throw to Mookie Cooper, which, hey, a couple inches another way, could be a whole different story. But Cooper catches it, nearly outruns all of the Auburn defense to get into the end zone, comes up just short. Doesn't have a touchdown since 2021. Fun fact for no intel. Yeah. And here come the Tigers. and then you get it on your own 5 and go 95 yards.
Yeah, with a bunch of third and...
Most importantly,
mediums.
the 4th and 5, which was cover 0. Here comes Auburn. They've been abusing the interior of Missouri's offensive line, and he puts that pass in Burden's hands. And once that happens, at that point, I'm going, okay. Even I think Craig, who struggled with his field goal kicks, missed 2 again on Saturday. I like him inside of a 35-yard kick. But Missouri doesn't stop. They keep going, and they get into the end zone and complete what was a phenomenal comeback. And I'm well aware Auburn is not a good team, but down 17-3 in the second half, and your quarterback is in a hospital room. That's what makes it significant.
Absolutely.
I gather the same Illinois fans who were trying to cover up the Purdue debacle from the previous week are now crapping on Missouri fans about celebrating the Auburn game. Win, Rocky, win. That's all it's about.
Now,
Give
man.
yourself a chance.
Yeah, especially with how college football is trending. Getting a win it almost doesn't matter how you do it. You just got to win so you can have a chance to get the signature win. Illinois has a big chance to get a signature win, dethrone the number 1 team on the road. Missouri has the opportunity to kind of put the final nail in the coffin of the Alabama Crimson Tide in 24.
That would be the final nail in the coffin of Alabama.
Yeah.
A 9-3 Alabama is not going.
Yeah.
And I would imagine the 3-loss Alabama could turn into a 4-loss with the trip to LSU following the Missouri game.
Yeah.
But Missouri has to win this game to get in. I do not see a road for Missouri to get into the playoff at 10-2 with their schedule. If they had Georgia and Texas left, then that's a different deal. But because they have Oklahoma, it looks brutal, and South Carolina, who looks good, very good 4-3, and Mississippi State and Arkansas, they don't have it out there. This is the one that they got to get if they're going to go into the playoff. I certainly do not expect them to go into the playoff. But you never know, Jackson. After what took place on Saturday, maybe that is the win that lifts them. What my concern is, as a Missouri fan, is Brady Cook is now on a bad leg in some capacity, possibly a high ankle sprain, whatever it might be. And Alabama re-injures that thing on Saturday. And then you saw what you have in your backup quarterback and his throwing ability in Drew Pine, unless maybe that was just a bad day for Drew Pine and he comes out there and he becomes the second coming and goes Steve Young, Joe Montana. I don't know. But that's why I'm concerned going into Tuscaloosa.
And I think that's extremely understandable. I think if they play like they played in the 4th quarter, that to me is way closer to what we thought Missouri could be all year.
But one of the reasons why they were able to play like that in the 4th quarter is because Auburn has no offense. Now, don't get me wrong, Missouri's defense was outstanding. Alabama, their issues are not.
No, offensive is not their issue, totally. But I felt Brady ran way better than he's run all year. He was moving like he used to. I felt like his throws had a little bit more zip. I mean, it was kind of a strategic underthrow to get that pass interference. I don't know if that was the plan, but it sure worked that way. He just looked more confident. He looked better. And if that is the thing, if confidence, because, we only know so much. If confidence was the thing holding them back, you have to think that this is a great way to springboard them out of that funk and possibly into a much more comfortable groove. Now, you're going to get the test of all tests when you head down to Tuscaloosa to do it. But if you're going to do it ever, the quarter leading up to Alabama might have been the quarter to do it. I hope that to be the case.
Mizzux. That's from the 636.
Wow. Boy, it's really nice. I remember probably getting that text from an 8th grade buddy when they lost to Norfolk State. Did
you really?
That would be the
text. Was that Herb?
I would have thought it was pretty low intelligence then, but
oh wow. Say it ain't so.
I just you keep that same energy. That's what I'll say.
Jackson, I'm going to give you 4 choices.
Sure.
Right now. Mm-hmm. You can take Oregon minus 21.5. You can take Illinois plus 20.5. You can take Alabama minus 13.5. You can take Missouri plus 13.5. You get any of those 4. What are you going with?
I'll take ILL and the points.
Okay.
I'll take ILL and the points. They've really impressed me with how composed they stay in games. I mean, I think actually the Penn State game is a great example of them staying in football games. I think doing exactly what they needed to do when they prepared for Michigan impressed me. I think, I'm not saying that they're win, but I think covering a big spread like that, I'd rather have that.
All right. I got good news for Missouri fans. Of those 4, I would take Alabama minus 13.5.
They have to win right now.
And I'm the same guy who gave you the Texas-Georgia over that didn't hit, and I loved Missouri against A&M, so that's great news for Missouri fans. I won't be betting it.
No.
But I see this going either Missouri somehow stays in it and Alabama falls apart and Kalen DeBoer, God bless his sweet soul, or Alabama wins like 49-3 and Drew Pine's in there throwing 3-yard hitch routes.
Kalen DeBoer kind of needs to run it up against Mizzou. Like, they're in a state where they're reeling is kind of the word, that because when you have South Carolina coming and the way they played, obviously Alabama won, but South Carolina played like they were the home team against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Kalen DeBoer kind of needs to run it up.
On Illinois' side, people get caught up in the rankings. I understand it. I'm not mocking it because I enjoy looking at them, but they also mean zero. In both schools' cases, if they win through the regular season, even losing in the Big Ten championship game and the SEC championship game, they're both in, which would mean they're 11-2 for the record. So the rankings are immaterial. If you were to ask me to rank the two teams, I would say Illinois' resume is better, and I don't even really see it as a sweat.
Yeah, both resume and eye test, I think.
Missouri has played 3 butt asses.
Yeah.
Although Buffalo, actually, for what they are, has been better. Murray State, Buffalo, and UMass. And then their 3 other wins against some less than operations. Boston College has fallen off in a big way. Vanderbilt's now number 25, but it took double overtime, and Auburn in the 17-3 comeback. Listen, it's not like Illinois' resume is beautiful. I mean, hey, I realize they beat Michigan, but I think even Illinois fans would admit that wasn't Michigan of the brand Michigan. That might be one of the worst Michigan teams in a long time. Just like when Missouri plays Oklahoma, I'm not going to spin that as a Missouri fan and go, oh, that's Oklahoma. That team's garbage and maybe the worst team in the SEC. But with that said, they got a win in Lincoln, and they hung with Penn State. Missouri's one loss was a blowout, and I don't know. I guess their best win's at home against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, as it stands right now.
Yeah, so I would put Illinois ahead of Missouri as far as rankings go. In both cases, it doesn't matter. Win. You got to win. In both schools' cases, you got to win. All right, it is 10:17 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Jackson has his weekend wrap-up. What's coming up next?
We'll talk a little bit about both the MLB playoffs and then a little bit.
Angle. Tommy Edman is going to be NLCS MVP.
A little bit of that, a little bit of Tommy Edman, a little bit just the star power you're going to get in this World Series, and then a little bit on the Blues and Hurricanes, more college football. There's plenty to talk about today.
There it is. It's the weekend wrap-up. This is Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. Go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com if you are in the market for a new car or a pre-owned vehicle. You can also text them or call them at 314-252-0029. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota with Jamie Burkhardt and Peter Munganess. And then in the service department, Ryan Seiberg. Even if you didn't get your car from Munganess, get your car serviced at Munganess and you'll experience the wonderful people we have gotten to know at Munganess, St. Louis Acura and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Just go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com to go shopping right now. Or you can call or text the number they set up specifically for our listeners, 314-252-0029. It is Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Welcome back to Bloom Party 101 ESPN. In Timothy Michael McKernan, Jackson Bennett Burkett with you on the weekend wrap-up. Jackson, what is our next question?
Well, the World Series has been decided. Tim, Yankees and Dodgers, and Tommy Edman is your NLCS MVP. Do you see any reverse take-smithing on the Tommy Edman trade? Are people out there spiking the football saying this is Mo's downfall? What do you know? Another player leaves? Or is there something to it? Is there something to this phenomenon of Cardinals players leaving and just being exponentially more successful?
So what do you mean reverse engineering? I don't follow what you mean.
People just revisionist history, really, on the trade.
I don't know what the shows or Twitter is saying. I don't know on that. But I know that when the morning after that trade, it had maybe as high of an approval rating as the Nolan Arenado trade. And so I would imagine now that he has won NLCS MVP, that many are saying that they hated the trade at the moment. That would be my guess if I know how social media works.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm seeing is people. But I think there's a difference between that and then people saying, where is the Cardinals' issue with developing talent? And I don't necessarily think Tommy Edman was ever bad on the Cardinals. I thought he was just Brendan Donovan, but not as effective. And so that's why I made him a good trade piece in that way, because he's plug and play, and obviously he's come to fruition under the Dodgers. But yeah, I've seen some of the revisionist history. I'm like, oh, what do you know? Mo fails again. Another bad trade. It's like, well, what did you say in the moment? That's what I want to know is what did you say in the moment? But we got Dodgers and Yankees World Series. You know what?
Can't wait.
I'm kind of fired up.
I'm looking forward to that World Series more than I have any since 2016 with the Cubs and the Indians.
Yeah.
This one is, I hope it goes 7 games because it should be a classic. The Dodgers are the favorite.
Yeah, both lineups are just so stacked. I mean, it's like so stacked lineup-wise.
I wonder what the run totals will be for the games. Like, will it be 9.5 for each game? Based
on what the Dodgers have done in the past couple games, I mean, it should be as high as you can make them. I mean, they just keep raking it in. Tommy Edman keeps hammering the baseball. It's interesting to see, but it feels like to me that the MLB playoffs kind of have their notoriety back. And I don't know, my question I written down was like, is this a star power thing, a franchise legacy thing, or both? And do you think Major League Baseball is really spiking the football here with how they've lined up these playoffs?
Are you trying to bait me? Is that your little gig? Because I notice you send the links and you always send those over. Are you a results-oriented guy now?
No. I just send those over. I don't do it to be like, ooh, look, Tim, you're wrong.
This is great, and this is what you could have when you don't invite 12 people to a tournament.
Yeah.
You know, the 2 best teams are playing, and I love that. That's what I want. My issue is you play 162 games, and then you don't get the best teams. In this case, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think people are latching on to both the franchise legacy and the star power of it all. I think when you have Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, and that's just scratching the surface, I think already you're going to get people fired up into it. I agree.
Indeed.
I'm trying to think of,
question 3.
How enjoyable has this season of college football been due to parity? Do you think this is a one-off for 2024, or do you think we can expect this a little bit more in the next couple of seasons? Do you think that this season's a one-off, or do you think we're expecting more of this?
I think this is what it is now. College football is now like the NFL, and that is why I think I could probably put 5, my top 5 most likely matchups for the college football playoff championship game, and I don't know if I would hit. You know what I mean? Like if we were to go, okay, Georgia, like if I had to bet right now, I'd say Georgia, Ohio State. That's what I would guess will play. Mm-hmm. And then you go, okay, Georgia against Texas, Georgia against Oregon, whatever, something like that. And then you go, okay, well, I got to take Georgia out. Now I got to get another couple in there. I'll go Ohio State against, hell, I don't even know. Maybe Oregon, a rematch. Who knows? I don't know. My point being, I think now, because of NIL and because of the portal, I think you could get in a spot where you're going to have somebody who you never would have thought be in the Final Four. And, I mean, Indiana's becoming the story. I think Indiana's got more cachet than Iowa State, even though Iowa State is ranked higher. Indiana beating the hell out of Nebraska, I think finally got the national attention that Kurt Cignetti had not been getting. I think in part because they really haven't beaten anybody great. But beating Nebraska like they beat Nebraska, that got people's attention. And they're undefeated.
Yep.
They'll get a chance to host Michigan here in a couple weeks. They got Washington coming up. Quarterback is hurt, though, so that's a bit of a problem for Indiana in that offense. But Indiana is got a really good chance of going 11-1. And Indiana is really looking like they could be a playoff team. I mean, who would have ever talked about that before the season?
Yeah, Mike, they got College Game Day coming next week. Who do you think would be the guest picker, and could it be Joe Buck?
This is for the Washington game?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Works for the network, IU grad.
That's a nice play. It's a nice...
I think possibly
firing a nice bet at the pot. I like that play.
I think I'm trying to think of other like IU grads like that. Football wise, obviously you're not going to have a ton of legacy there. Yeah. Basketball wise, not in the past 10, 15 years. You don't have a lot of legacy unless you want to bring Victor Oladipo to go pick the game.
You would like that if he were there.
I'd be into it. I guess you could go Caitlin Clark because she plays for Indianapolis, but she seems so much for Iowa that I don't think that works. I think Joe Buck might be like if I was setting the spread on that, if I was setting the lines, I would put Joe Buck at like plus 200.
I think Joe was planning on going to the Michigan game.
Okay.
But I mean, Bloomington's he wouldn't be flying or driving anyway. I don't know what Monday Night Football is coming up. That can factor into the travel plans. But Herb Street's able to go from the West Coast to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yeah. In an afternoon. So.
I'm sure he was excited to not have to leave in the middle of the show on Saturday.
Yeah, indeed, and just stick around. Yeah, I like that play. I think that's a nice play.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out the Monday Night Football game for the next
I think that's a nice play. I love it. I mean, listen, it would be great if Missouri can somehow pull it off. It'd be great if Illinois could somehow pull it off. I think even hardcore Missouri fans and hardcore Illinois fans acknowledge it's not real likely. Indiana's schedule lends itself to getting that. I mean, look right now in the Athletic, their projected bracket has Indiana traveling to Austin, Texas as the 10 seed to take on the 7 seed Longhorns.
I really like that.
How about that?
I really like that.
I mean, holy crap.
Monday Night Football's in Pittsburgh the weekend.
Oh,
so that's not
perfect.
That's not far at all.
It's like an hour flight, if that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying maybe Joe Buck on the guest picker.
That's a nice play.
That's who I would like to see. That's what I like to see works in there. I really like Scotty Scheffler, and then got to shade Louisville a little bit when he was up there.
That was good.
In his green jacket. I thought that was great.
Good entertaining. 10:29 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues defeat the Hurricanes on Saturday. Final score of 4-3. The Blues will take on the Winnipeg Jets coming up tomorrow evening. You can catch that right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6 p.m. Puck drop at 7 p.m. against the Winnipeg Jets, a.k.a. WPG. Tonight, Monday Night Football, you get Buccaneers and Ravens. Pre-game starts right here on 101 ESPN at 6:30, and the kickoff is at 7:20. That's Buccaneers and Ravens right here on 101 ESPN. That was their Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Back to Bloom Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you on the program. Jackson, breaking sports television news as Diamond Sports has announced a commercial partnership with FanDuel. So Bailey's no longer exists. It is now FanDuel Sports Network. So the Blues in Winnipeg will be playing on FanDuel TV.
Yeah, I do. Does it crowdsourcing here, but does it say when it takes into effect, or is it immediately? Okay, all right, cool.
MLB in their continued hearings against Diamond Sports, saying that this is out of order because they did not have a chance to refute it. And so they continue to be at each other's throats. I mean, this is just, this isn't going to like fix anything. It's essentially more of a sponsorship, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the real battle that goes on with this is going on in the courtrooms. And I mean, just a month ago, we had news that they were canceling with a bunch of different teams, which took MLB lawyers by surprise. Now we have this naming rights change, which has been theorized for a while, but now is coming to fruition. Amazon buying it all up is still on the table. Apple buying it all up is still up on the table. Like, this is such a nightmare, really, for sports fans and where to watch their games. But hopefully by the end of it, you come out with a much simpler way to watch it either on your phone, television, wherever. Because it's just crazy.
It's Balloon Party, 101 ESPN, Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. And the YouTube chat is how you can get involved. Don Pepe says, if Mizzou and Illinois lose next Saturday, it's going to be a dark day in here. I don't know about that. I don't really know how many people are like expecting them to win. I mean, one's a 3-touchdown underdog and the other's a 2-touchdown underdog.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to keep hope alive. But this is, I mean, it's going to be tough. They're both fighting uphill battles, certainly. Illinois is probably going up against the better team and maybe the tougher environment. But I don't think you can go into this game being like, oh, man, the season's, I mean, it will be dead likely if both teams lose. However, I mean, you're going up against the number one team in the nation. The other team is Alabama, who's played a really tough schedule so far. So I don't think it's going to be the saddest day of all time. I'll be sad, but...
Yeah, James Carlton, I don't know if this was on air or off air. He sponsors Gabe DeArmond on TMA and on Balloon Party. And he asked me how this compares to going into Georgia last year. And I said, well, I thought Missouri was a great team last year. I don't think that this year. And I thought Georgia was perhaps the best team in the country last year. And I don't think that about Alabama. So in that sense, the bar moves down for both Georgia and Missouri, or for both Alabama and Missouri, because Alabama is in Georgia of last year and Missouri of this year is not a Missouri of last year. What my hope is that somehow that game on Saturday and that comeback, and perhaps the confidence Brady Cook now has, not just in himself, but from others in the room, in part perhaps seeing what Drew Pine looks like when he's trying to throw the football. He's 10 of 21. Gives him confidence going to Alabama. So along the lines of what you were saying, Jackson, if you could ask for a better set of circumstances, I don't know what it would be versus the kind of comeback you got with Brady Cook going into that game. The issue is, I just wonder about his health and that leg, and Alabama, one 5-star rolls up on that thing, and how quickly that could impact things. That's where my concern is, and that sucks. But if he can go out there and do what he did in the third and fourth quarters against Auburn and do that in Tuscaloosa, hey, man, different ball game. And on the Illinois side of things, Illinois played the number 3 team in the country currently. I know I don't think too many people really think Penn State is the 3rd best team in the country, but, hey, they're undefeated. They're one of a handful of teams left that are undefeated. And they were right there with them. So this Oregon team that now is number 1, keep in mind this Oregon team had trouble with Idaho and needed a last-second field goal at home against Boise State. So, Illinois is getting them at 12:30 local time, 12:30 Pacific. And, I'm intrigued to see how Illinois' style of football will mix with Oregon's preferred style of football, and if that can throw off the Ducks in any capacity.
Yeah, and I think either way for Illinois, outside of getting blown out at Autzen, Brett Bielema keeps talking about in his post-game or any interview I see with him, like how he's so excited that the progress the program is making, what they're building upon, having that kind of atmosphere for the Red Grange game with the Michigan coming to town. Like, I think if you are an Illinois fan, you should be very excited about who's at the helm of your program when Brett Bielema. I think he's an excellent coach. I think he's even a better representative of the university. And I think you got to be really excited about the progress they've made. And we've seen it now with college football. Just watch Indiana as a prime example with Kurt Signetti. You can do it. Like, there's much more of the NFL than it was 5 years ago. It's much more of the NFL than it was 3 years ago. So if you are building a really solid foundation, progress keeps coming week after week. You should be very excited, even if they lose by 14 to Oregon at Autzen.
Marsh's burner writing, I wasn't asking for Cook to be benched, but always wondered what another quarterback would look like. After Saturday, there's no doubt Cook is the guy. That's from Marsh's burner.
Yeah, I think that without a doubt, Brady Cook, and when he looked just so much better when he came back in that third quarter. He looked so much better. I mean, it was obviously Mookie Cooper doing a lot of the running with the ball as opposed to airing it out, but that alone just shows you like that was not an option when Drew Pine was in. They were not going to be doing an 80-yard run for almost a touchdown. That's just not what's going to happen.
10:42 in St. Louis. It is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. You're welcome to participate in the conversation on YouTube and, of course, the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. That is how you can text the program, and you can participate in the chat on the YouTube channel. John Mellencamp is the guest picker for Indiana this weekend.
Is that official?
We've got a few texts on it.
Really? Okay.
How about that?
That's, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, for all I know, they asked Joe Buck, and he was like, no, thanks. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I just think, like, if you want someone to really, really resonate with as many people as possible, I don't know if John Mellencamp is that answer. I don't mean to disparage anybody.
Unbelievable. Little ditty by Jack and Diane.
Like, I like John Google.
What about the Authority song?
I have no problem with John Mellencamp. I want that out there right
Pink
now.
Houses. Sounds like you don't like that because it's about small-town Americans working hard for a living, getting their hands dirty. And that isn't what you value, is it?
Nonsense.
You value VC and private equity.
Yeah, it's my creed. But I like John Mellencamp's music. I've toyed with naming myself Jackson Cougar Burkett.
Ooh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad at all. I just think if you're really
Dan Jansen says you don't know him.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane, two American
Jansen,
kids
how do you feel?
in the heartland. Trying to be a football star. Yeah, come on. I'm not. I don't live under a rock.
What's your Mount Rushmore of John Cougar Mellencamp songs? Go.
Jack and Diane,
okay.
Pink Houses,
okay.
Authority Song,
okay.
and song to be named later.
Small Town.
Yeah, and I think with a bullet, that's my Mount Rushmore.
There it is. I mean, do you feel like you just defeated Dan Jansen?
Not really. I just think, like, wouldn't you want to get someone who could reach, like, and resonate with the most possible people? I don't know. Maybe Indiana fans, like, are, like, absolute crazy for John Mellencamp. But, like, if Mizzou, like, Sheryl Crow is a great Mizzou alum. I don't know if she would be, like, my number one pick for guest picker.
Who would be your number one pick, assuming I'm not available?
William Brad Pitt.
Well, we're both Sigma Chi's.
Yeah.
We both didn't graduate.
Right.
We both were journalism majors.
Illustrious careers.
Both illustrious careers. I don't know what he did this year, but I did HD2 radio.
Yeah. Yep. Kings of IP.
Thank you.
And
exactly right.
I think
Kings of IP.
Yeah, I think William Pitt or you would be great.
If you could pick, and it's not Brad Pitt or me or Sheryl Crow, who would get the call? Who did it in game day in
That's a
2010?
great question. That's a great question.
I'm sure we're going to get an answer on that immediately.
That's a great question on who that might have been. Sheryl Crow, for all we know. Who would I pick if not for them? John Hamm?
He did some time in Como.
I would say John Hamm is who I would pick if not those people.
I feel like we're missing an obvious one. I wonder who it was in 2010. Somebody got to text that in 314-399-9646. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to I think
there had to be a guest picker.
Yeah, I wouldn't go MPJ. I wouldn't go anyone recently with the program. So I think Brad Pitt, John Hamm, both would be great choices. Someone coming after me.
They're just not impressed with that.
I can smell it.
With that version of.
Well, the guy said I didn't know who he was.
Rascal Flatts should do it.
No thanks. Hard pass. That'd be a curse. But the guy said I didn't know it. I busted out the lyrics.
You did.
So what do you want?
I'm sure that Dan Jansen is doffing his cap to you for that.
Probably not. His name's Dan Jansen. His name probably isn't even close to Dan Jansen. I'm just going to, my name's out there. Jackson Cougar Burkett.
They didn't do guest picker back in 2010, and this guy said he was there.
Huh.
Yeah, I was about to say, how would I not remember that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
feel like I can picture Kim English at the event.
Yeah, he would have still been active at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there through 2012, and he was part of that 2009 team that went to the Elite Eight.
Pretty good meme of Lee Corso in the Tiger helmet waving at everybody. That's been used a lot in the past couple of years.
I know he did that at Arrowhead when they played KU in 2007.
Gotcha.
All right, Jackson. John Mellencamp. And you're not happy about it.
I just, I don't know how the process works. I don't know who they ask. I don't know. So I don't want to make any judgments. I just think, in a vacuum, I think you would go someone who reaches a little bit wider. But I don't know. Maybe Mellencamp is running it up with Gen Zs, and I'm just not realizing it. Maybe I'm the odd one out.
Is Jackson the odd one out? 314-399-9646. Or you can participate in the YouTube conversation, which is very, very active right now. All right, we'll take a commercial break. Final segment of Bloom Party coming your way. This is 101 ESPN. Jackson catching a lot of hell for this John Mellencamp situation. Jackson, IU just unveiled a Mellencamp statue on campus.
Really?
314.
They have a John Mellencamp stat?
Yep.
Boy.
He's the perfect person to fire up the crowd, Piddles. That's from UPS Tony.
Sure. Wayne Newton not available?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I always see, there's no way someone can tell me somebody in their 70s is firing up, 20-year-olds. I'm just sorry.
But he's a legend.
Yeah, I mean...
What right there was you made a sound. And I'm trying to figure out what that means.
Yeah, I mean, after last night or 2 nights ago, they said Juan Soto was the GOAT. I think they're embellishing a little bit. I think I like John Mellencamp's music. Don't get me wrong. I know who he is. I'm not positive 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-olds get that fired up for John Mellencamp. I like John Mellencamp.
He's a legend.
Sure. Yeah. Warren Buffett's a legend. I don't know if he's firing up the Cornhuskers.
So what? Because clearly this is age discrimination.
I don't mean it to be.
And I would imagine Hubbard management will talk to you about it. But what is the age cutoff to fire up a crowd in Bloomington, Indiana, or Columbia, Missouri, for that matter?
I don't think it's necessarily an age thing because I referenced Brad Pitt, who's in his 50s.
I think he might be in his 60s.
Yeah, even so. I think it's a relevancy thing.
So as long as you're attracted to the man.
Well, it doesn't hurt. I'm not unattracted to John Mellencamp.
We can move on to the next topic. We figured out what the issue was.
No, but it's a relevancy thing. It's like Brad Pitt was, won Best Supporting Actor 4 years ago. John Mellencamp, I don't think was running up the charts.
Why does Jackson hate American farmers? That's from the 314.
I mean, I got my dad texting me. He's a Bloomington legend. Oh, okay, all right. Maybe I'm off.
God, he's a huge booster and supporter of IU athletics. That's from the 618.
Okay, I'm clearly wrong. However, I think I could be right about something, and all these people would tell me I'm wrong. So I don't know if that's the best barometer. Okay, hey, everyone go ask their 19-year-old children how much John Mellencamp fires them up, and then report back, please.
If you could do that in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, go ask your college-age children.
MD 2020 wants to get Hubbard's HR number in the YouTube chat if somebody can provide
There's no HR violation for saying John Mellencamp isn't as relevant as he once was.
Of course Piddles isn't down with Mellencamp. He's not hip to the jive. That's from the 618. Hey, douche! Mellencamp lives in Seymour, Indiana, 1 hour from Bloomington.
Okay, we've established...
His name is on the football practice facility.
We've established that John Mellencamp is big with IU, Bloomington legend. Understand it. That's all well and good. And again, I could be wrong. I just don't know if he, I think with the guest picker, you want someone to fire up your program, fire up your fan base. And maybe that is John Mellencamp, and I'm just wrong. And that's fine. I'll accept that. I'm a little dubious.
This place, and by this place I mean Bloomington, Indiana, is going to be up for snatch grabs at 10:42 a.m. this Saturday when Pink Houses starts blasting, and here comes John, in parentheses, Cougar Mellencamp. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, hey, listen, I think Indiana fans might be fired up if I went out there and picked the game. I don't think that the guest picker will have any real importance when it comes to how fired up the fans were, but they're not really playing all that great of an opponent in UW. Certainly not the UW of last year, considering their coaches at Alabama now.
Nice.
And so I don't think that
he'll come back to Washington.
He might need to.
We could have a little Bill Snyder, Greg Schiano situation developing. I might take odds on that, actually. I guarantee every bar in Bloomington, they listen to him. Asshat!
Okay.
UPS Tony.
I guess everyone is more informed about this. And okay, all right. This is crazy to me.
I just asked my daughter who is 19, and she said, "Who the hell is that?" That's from the 314.
Now, maybe it's because she doesn't go to Indiana. So maybe if you have a child in Indiana, ask them.
That was nice on your part because you could have taken that and gone, see? But you recognize...
I could be right, and everyone would just tell me I'm wrong. Again, this is the culture that has been built.
You're talking about on the show or just in the world?
Seems like in the world, but certainly on this program.
One time, my freshman year at Mizzou, someone had a kickback party in their room, and they put on Hurt So Good. This was in 2011, but everybody loved it.
Okay. Wonderful little story. We all got them. Kickback party.
They would eat you alive if you were the guest Vicar. It's in Martinsburg.
Oh, would they? They would eat me alive, right?
Lee Corso's 100, and he's still pumping up 20-year-olds. It's in the 636.
Good to see him back on game day this week. That was good to see because he was gone 2 weeks.
That's right.
Got a little scared there.
All right, Jackson. Well, here's the deal. I'm pulling for the Hoosiers if it can't be the Fighting Tigers and ILL. But
Sure.
You know what? Maybe a week from today, both Missouri and Illinois are in the college football playoff bracket projections, and we're on a collision course in Columbia, Missouri, between the 9-seed Illini and the 8-seed Missouri. Sweet mother of mercy.
So that would just be awesome. And you know what? This metro area deserves it. This metro area with heartbreak left and right, close but no cigar moments as far as the eye can see. This local area needs a Missouri-Illinois college football playoff matchup, and I think if they can get the wins in Tuscaloosa and wins in Eugene, Oregon, why not? That's what I say. I say, why not? John Mellencamp notwithstanding.
That's a great endorsement. Jackson, BK and Ferrario are coming up next, and you can partake in the conversation with them in the 101 ESPN YouTube, which is sponsored by the Air Alliance team. Time for us to shut it down. For Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Timothy Michael McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.